Yo, what is good, guys? This is your man, Silver Smasher, coach of the Galactic Garchomps and coach of the Floridian Typhlosions. And with that being said, we are about to come at you with an APA Classic Coach Power Ranking by yours truly, the Silver Smasher, baby. Bring it out and bring it up to your man. Coming at you with the lit Pokemon content. I know it's been months, weeks, probably a good year since I've uploaded a legitimate battle on this channel. But you know what? It's okay. We need a break. We needed a break. But we're coming back strong with some Pokemon content. We may or may not have Pokemon content after this. It depends on how I feel. But if you are a Danganronpa watcher of mine, I suggest you watch my videos and watch my Pokemon content if Pokemon content does come out. Shameless plug. Now, moving on. This is season 17 of APA Classic, and I've been here for about 8 seasons. This is my 9th season, but technically I finished 8, so yeah, I'm currently on my 9th. So, I've been a part of 9 seasons of this league, so you already know I am pumped to play. This is an Uber season, so you already know it's going to be lit. It's going to be lit. So, with that being said, we're going to go on and talk about the coaches, why they're ranked where they are, the rankings, why I think they are put where they are, etc. So, with that being said, we're going to continue, and we're going to jump into the rankings and each letter's meaning of why they are the way they are, and why they're placed the way they're placed. I cannot English today, oh my Jesus. But anyways, we're going to talk about the rankings, the letters, the meaning of each letters, and why they will matter on the long run. So, if you're currently watching this, but you're not watching it, this is your background noise or whatever, just for you to chill and listen to as you're doing other things. I'm going to read off each letter up to down. Okay, so we're going to start with S. This rank means you're a player with little to no flaws, while also consistently staying at your peak while beating every other battler of this caliber, along with beating the lesser skilled players that you may or may not come across. Pat yourself on the back, you deserve it. You are a superb player overall. Congratulate yourself. It is very hard to get to this level as a Pokemon competitive draft league battler. So, with that being said, we're going to move down to the A rank. This rank means you're an overall very skilled battler who possess very little flaws and weaknesses as a player while battling on a consistent basis, while possessing immense amounts of strength and good traits. The battler's consistency is also near its peak here, meaning you are an overall excellent battler. Now, moving on. B rank. This rank means you're an overall skilled battler who possess a tiny bit more strengths when compared to the average player's more evenly distributed strengths and weaknesses, which means that you'll typically have a large amount of strengths and traits as a battler overall. A bit less consistent than the average top player, but high enough to be consistent. A consistent battler contender who are likely to take a game or two from top players at their peak, which means you are an overall good player. Moving down to C rank. This rank means you're an overall average skilled battler who possesses an evenly good amount of flaws compared to their strengths as a whole. You're consistently average due to this, thus keeping them in the middle of the pack. Your strengths are there, but your even amount of flaws keep you balanced, which means you are an average player overall. Now D. This rank means you're likely a very mediocre player who possesses multiple flaws with little strong traits in order to overcome the weaknesses that you may have as a battler. You're likely very inconsistent and will oftentimes fall short to even an average player at their peak. And that last sentence means that even if you're, like, for example, you're a D rank player and you're playing against a C rank player, you're likely to not beat them because you're so inconsistent, and the average player is likely to exploit your weaknesses, and you're unable to usually exploit their weaknesses. So with that being said, we are going to S rank, and you already know, if you're in this rank, whoo baby, you have made it. It's official, and as I said before, pat yourself on the back. You deserve it, baby. But unfortunately, no, ain't nobody in S rank right now. So with that being said, we are moving on to A rank, and with A rank, we're gonna kick it off, and we're gonna start off with my man Panther, coach of the Carolina Clefable. And I've met Panther in my second ever Wi-Fi league, or third Wi-Fi league, depending on which you count first. But I met him in the Pokemon Masters United, which is commissioned by my man Just Kirk. Shout out to my man Kirk. But I met Panther there. I didn't really meet Panther. I saw Panther, and he took over a team, and I played him for the first time. I beat him 4-0. His roster was terrible. He took over a terrible roster. So he ended up getting Tapu Koko in the transaction. Not a transaction. Someone traded it to him. And I'm like, I mean, the person didn't like Coco, but like, dog, really? Why you gotta do that? So I played Panther in semifinals, and of course, I lost to Panther, and I got 5-0. Like, there was legitimately no way I can beat his team after the transactions plus trades that he got across coaches in the league. And I believe that was season 3. And that was a load of bullcrap. But we're going to talk about why Panther is here. Panther is here because ever since I met him, Panther has been consistently a high/top player that I've consistently been able to observe, watch, and learn from, believe it or not. So, Panther typically enjoys running bulky offense. A lot of the time, he likes to have his bulky setup, his fat in the back, to check threats that he occasionally does not usually deal with. But lately, Panther isn't as dominant as he was before across leagues, because a lot of people have been getting better and better, growing, elevating their skill, finding themselves in the draft community. But Panther, don't get it twisted. Just because Panther isn't as dominant compared to everybody else around him, doesn't mean this man is not someone to be afraid of. You better be afraid of this man, because Panther always drafts exceptionally well. Drafting is a skill. Drafting is 110% a skill. And if you don't believe that, you need to recheck yourself, rethink your life, and just reflect around your whole draft career, because, dog, if you have a bad draft, you are giving yourself the least possible chance of winning. But Panther gives his best chance of winning during the drafting process, and I think that's very important. You got to know how to draft to your play style, draft to your win conditions, draft to how you like to build, prep, play, and execute it when it is time to play. So, Panther knows how to draft very well. Panther is very consistent. I've seen him beat consistently players that he is better than, and players around his skill level, and even at times players better than him. So, shout out to my man Panther. He is the co-commissioner of APA, which is the American Pokemon Association. And to some people's dismay, APA is pretty much a league that really got me in the step in the right direction, if that makes sense. Like, it helped me elevate my craft, elevate my connections, elevate my skill in battling, because I was able to meet different people, get into different leagues, and associate myself with multiple people across the community, thus allowing me to grow and be the best I can be that I currently am. So, shout out to Panther for that, for letting me in when nobody thought I deserved it around that time and age. So, with that being said, Panther is very consistent, always winning when he's not playing Gypsy, and yeah, he drives well, plays well. I rarely ever saw Panther misplay, ever. So this is exactly why he is placed here. Panther is definitely the best player in Classic, because I am not ranking myself. Keep that in mind. So with that being said, we are going to move on, and we're going to talk about my man Joe, coach of the Chippenham Chestnuts. And my man Joe was on hiatus for that clean year and a half, probably 2 years. But my man came back, and he came swinging. He was swinging. My man Joe came out swinging, big dog, last season of the APA. He is currently in finals. I do not know the winner of that so far, because, hint, hint, it was John. And I won't tell you who John. But anyways, I am going to tell you why my man Joe is here. Joe took over a terrible roster, season 16, lost one game, won all 7 games, took over Panther roster week 5 or 4, won that game 4-0 with a roster that wasn't even his, built the team by himself, no help, and dominated every single game. But that loss, even that loss he took, was a 1-0 loss, and that was only because my man Shy Guy brought Scarf Leafeon, which was clutch prep. That was good prep by Shy Guy. Good prep by Shy Guy. Cannot hate on my man Shy for that. Some good prep. That's my boy right there. Shy's my boy, Panther Jr. But we're gonna talk about Joe. Joe knows how to draft. He knows how to play. He beats everybody he is supposed to beat, and sometimes he even beats players that is better than him, and that's crazy. That's crazy. Joe really came out of hibernation, swinging and tearing up the competition. My man went 9-3, I believe, season 16, over one of the worst rosters in the league. Keep in mind, this roster was trash, garbage. Like, it was, oh my lord. Like, I won't even get into it. But my man consistently been proving his worth in APA Classic, and along with Odyssey. I don't know why he is in Odyssey. That is literally a free championship for my man Joe. So, yeah, my man Joe currently drafted a very powerful team in Evelta, so he knows how to draft, for one. Joe obviously knows how to play, and he is very consistent in how he approaches his win cons. He plays his win cons. He doesn't choke for the most part. And keep in mind, this man hasn't played for 2 years up until APA season 16, like what, week 4? And my man came out swinging. But yeah, this is why Joe is ranked here. Joe is easily top 5, if not top 3 in the league, like hands down. Like, there's no question. This man is very consistent. I have barely saw Joe lose, especially when he's tryharding. When my man sweats, he sweats. So, moving on. We're going to talk about my man, Tar Heel, Young Bang, Young Corn Dog, though. Young Ice Cream Liquor. Yo, my man, the Zard X Master, is here once again, baby, to prove to everybody that he still got this, baby. And that's exactly why I put my man, Tar Heel, in the top 3, pretty much. This is top 3. I think Tar Heel is top 3 because this man is very, very, very consistent in his playing. And if you haven't watched his YouTube videos, I suggest you go watch that. Shameless plug for my man Tar Heel. But yeah, my man is consistent. He knows how to draft. He drafts the same defensive core for the most part. But overall, this man knows how to draft. He knows how to build. He knows how to play. He's a creative builder. Very consistent. He beats players around his skill. Players that he is 100% better than majority of the time. Because keep in mind, this is Pokemon. RNG, 100% a factor, baby. I can prove that to you firsthand. But Tar Heel, I've seen this man do very, very well in APA Wi-Fi with a lot of these strong contenders in APA main. Keep in mind, not all of them are top tier. Not all of them are top of the crop. But Tar Heel is showing that he can hang with the best of them in the community. So, Tar Heel usually comes in with a game plan, knows what he's doing, executes it. You can literally go watch this man's videos. Like, he literally goes in depth with his builds, goes in depth with his game plans. His commentary is very energetic. I enjoy his commentary for the most part. Very informational stuff. If you want to learn from someone as they're playing, go watch my man General Tar Heel. My man knows how to prep. Like, I can't say no more, bro. I can't say no more. I think he even won an APA crown, actually, which is crazy because I still don't got one. But you know what? It's alright. It's alright. My day will come. My time will come. But next person, we have Mio, coach of the Oklahoma Thunders. So, she, they, he, I don't remember exactly what this person wants to be called or referred to, but Mio for the most part, is a very consistent player. Very consistent. Knows what he, she, or they are doing, and it is completely amazing to watch this person play. And like, I'm sorry if I'm stumbling, but do not kill me. But for the most part, this guy knows what he is doing, knows how to draft, consistently knows how to play. It's acceptable to what happened. All right, but yeah. With that being said, y'all, yeah, this guy very consistent. The drafts, a lot of the time the drafts are a bit whack, but it works. It works, and this guy knows how to use it very, very well. I've seen Mio consistently beating players around, or if not better than her, he, she, or they current skill. So yeah, like I remember playing Mio for the very first time, and it was a very tight game, very close game. I really enjoyed that game. It really came down to a 50-50 in APA Evolution, I believe. Very good game, very solid game. I enjoyed it very much so. So yeah, that was, oh man, that game was so good. I think I might even link that. If I don't link it, make sure you ping me. I will for sure link that in the, oh my god, I cannot English. I will definitely link that in the description if I do remember post recording. So with that being said, y'all, I think I talked enough about Mio. This player is really good. I've seen her play in TDT. Dominated season 2, I believe. Season 3, unfortunately, she was dropped, but she got a W, and that's all that mattered. So that is dope to go out like that. So APA Evolution went 7-5, or 8-4. Got hacks in 2 games. One of the losses was to yours truly. So you cannot complain to losing to me. Losing to me is okay. A lot of people lose to me, so it's alright. It's alright. Yep. So that being said, we are going to jump, and we are about to hit up one of the GOATest players of all time, one of the best to ever do it, the myth, the legend, my man, Blendman, baby. What's good? What's good, baby? We gonna hit up my man Blend, and we gonna tell you why this man in A rank, baby. My man, for one, he's the GOAT. Never loses, always winning. Free ship, bro. Oh yeah, baby. Let's get this bread. Moving on to B rank, baby. We about to move on. And first of all, we're about to talk about Ultra Player. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna be like, man, why is Ultra Player in B rank? Like, isn't Ultra a very strong player? And I agree with that. Very powerful player, very strong player. I think at his peak, Ultra is easily top 5 in the league. Easily top 5. Even like as inconsistent as he is, I cannot put him lower than the top of B rank. This guy is really phenomenal in his prep, really phenomenal in executing his prep. And unfortunately, this man is the definition of hacks magnet. He is the hacks magnet of the century. This man gets frozen, he gets crit burn, full paired consecutive turns. He gets freezed every game. Every single game I seen him, he got frozen in BBL. Like, it was crazy. I'm like, yo. I never thought one person can get as frozen as much as my man Josh. And he proves that, hey, yo, you can get frozen every game. It's possible. I'll show you what's good. So, anyways, my man Josh, very inconsistent, unfortunately. My man is a very strong player, but he's a very inconsistent strong player. And that is exactly why I put him in the top of B rank, because at his peak, he is definitely a contender for A rank. 110% an A contender. I would even put him top 4 or top 3 easily. But I am going based off of consistency. And if I'm going off of consistency, I can't just go off of people's peak. I have to go off of how they are overall as a player, as a builder, as a drafter, etc. So, yeah, my man Josh, his prep, oh man, I cannot tell you how much I love this man's prep. First of all, this man swept someone in TDT with, what was that? What's that? It wasn't even a berry. He was Electric Seed, Palm Mine, Store Power, T-Bolt, Roots Coco. And he reverse swept a team. He was down 5-2. He had 2 mons left, and this guy had 5 mons. I'm like, bro, is Josh really about to go out like that? I know my man Josh can't go out like that. We're on the same team. We mocked, we put in the work, and now it's time for my man Josh to come out with the W. And then he pulled out the Coco, started setting up, it started going brazy, and my man swept them with Coco. 1-2-0, baby. Let's get this bread. Let's get this bread. So, my man Josh, he knows how to prep, he knows how to play, he knows how to build. The problem is, will he be hot or will he be cold? And that's a huge flaw that I think plagues this man to this day. So, yeah, shout out to my man Ultra Player. Very solid player. Love this guy. Yeah, so we're going to move on and we're going to talk about Matt. I don't know much about Matt, so I won't talk long about Matt. He is coach of the Nido Queens. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about Matt. From what I saw today, my man lost to Corey, a.k.a. Bandit Caterpie, which is coach of the Roselia team. I forgot the full name. But, yeah, he didn't speed creep properly, and he lost. But this man, obviously, I was watching him, and he was putting in the work. Like, this man made Webs look like a non-factor that match. Shout out to my man Matt. So, I apparently, like, not apparently, I obviously cannot go into too much detail regarding how he drafts, plays, builds, etc. But what I can tell you is his prep and his drafting, very solid from what I saw. So, if you know how to draft, that's already a step in the right direction. That is a leg up for you. That is very beneficial to the player, obviously, because you're giving yourself the best tools to use to win. And I believe that's very important. If you do not know how to draft, you are putting yourself on the back burner from the drafting process, which means you have less viable, no synergy for your team, which means you are likely to continuously face terrible matchups versus better constructed teams. So I think that is very important that you know how to draft and know how to build to use your resources as effectively as possible. So we're going to move on and we're going to talk about my man OG Obana. So I've met him 2018, I believe. 2018 I met OG Obana, and he is coach of the Shanghai Dragapos. So he is formerly known for being coach of the Golden State War Turtles. Oh my god, try saying that 10 times faster. But yeah, he is currently coach of the Shanghai Dragapos, and since I was able to analyze how he played from 2018 up until this point, I have to tell you that as much as I think he's not consistent, when he is consistent, he is a powerhouse. And as much as I don't want to admit it, this man has taken some games off him, and he has played very, very exponentially well. But my issue with him, why he is in this ranking, is because, like Josh, aka Ultra Player, he lacks the consistency that is required to be in the A rank. And I feel like if you're in the A rank, you can't be put off your game. You can't be going on tilt. You cannot be getting easily put off guard. You have to be mentally strong, mentally consistent, mentally immovable when you're playing this game, especially when RNG is a huge factor in most games, if not all games. So he knows how to prep for the most part. He knows how to play on a good day. The problem is he beats really good players when he is at his peak, but he is susceptible to losing to players that are significantly worse than him. And it really aggravates me so much that this man is so easily rattled when he plays, and it's just like, bro, you could have still easily won that game, dog, if you kept your head cleared, continuously playing to your win con. And even if your win con gets hacked, you likely have another win con that you're probably overlooking. And I feel like being able to identify a win con when one of your win cons don't go as according to plan, I think is important to identify your win con or win cons during the game. So you can't tunnel vision during prep like, hey, this is my win con, so I'm playing to win around this win con, and then suppose your win con gets hacked and you built around that win con. Okay, now what? You're gonna just lose? Nah, you gotta figure out how you're gonna win, why you're gonna win, execute it. Don't easily be rattled by your opponent misplaying, hacking you, or like outplaying you. Like, you have to keep your head in the game. You have to stay put. You have to put that cap on and just stay put, stay strong. Don't be too easily tilted. Like, tilt is a seriously I cannot English. Tilt is a seriously demoralizing thing, because after you watch the game with a clear head, it's like, dude, I could have easily played that better. I could have easily executed a different win con and played to that win con, but I was so in my own head, I was so rattled, so tilted, so upset at this random factor that occurred during the game that I decided to not think and just autopilot. And a lot of players are susceptible to that, and it's unfortunate because I've watched a lot of games where Owen should have won and this guy just loses, and it's just like, bro, dog, you could have won that, you know that, right? And then he analyzes his games after, and he's like, dag, I really could have won that. And I'm like, yeah, I know, you gotta really fix that tilting thing. And I know he knows this, but it's a huge flaw that holds him back, and he really gotta fix that. But that being said, we're gonna jump and we're gonna hit up my man Zombie, coach of the Victoria Victinis. So this guy, as average as I think he is overall as a player, again, this guy knows how to draft, and he drafts like his drafts are easily consistently top 8, like top 5 to top 8 on a consistent basis for the most part. So if you know how to draft, you are setting yourself up to give your chance the best shot of winning, and I think that is important, very important, extremely important. I think that is giving you the best tools to win, as I've mentioned prior, and you will hear that multiple times. But for the most part, Zombie beats players around his skill caliber, consistently beats players he is worse than. But at the same time, he is susceptible to losing to players that are significantly better than him. Like, I have seen Zombie get 5-0, 6-0, 4-0 even. And I'm like, yo, what happened, man? Dog, like, what's good? And a lot of the time it's because he overlooked a certain mon, or he got outplayed because the player is just on a different level. And it happens. It happens. Sometimes you just get outplayed, outprepped, and you just get smashed. Like, there's nothing to say. You get smashed, I get smashed, we all get smashed. It happens. So Zombie, for the most part, is consistently beating players he is worse than. For the most part, he, on an average basis, beats players around his skill caliber, and a lot of the time he loses to players above him in skill. And I think a lot of this is because Zombie plays in so many leagues that his prep begins to become oversaturated. And it's just unfortunate, because if you fast prep every single league you're in, you're likely to you're likely to overlook win conditions that your opponent can have and how you can better build for it. And if your prep is lacking strong, definitive cores, win con, synergy, etc., like if you're just dumping your best 6, like your top 6, build a set and then play, it's like you're putting in half the effort. And if you're putting in half the effort, you're not being a player you're better than, and the players around you who put in the more effort, that's not English, who put in more effort are likely to beat you. if not destroy you. You get smashed, you're like, dag, like what happened? And a lot of the time, it's because of prep, and because you're in so many leagues, you become drained. You become like, it becomes a burden. Like, it's not fun. And if something's not fun or enjoyable, you're putting in minimum time in order to like get these things done. It's like, man, I just want to get this game done. Let me fast build, 5-minute prep, 10-minute prep, 15-minute prep. How many minute preps you do, my man Zom? But yeah, for the most part, Zombie, very solid player. A lot of people think he is like a really strong player, but I think Zombie is just barely above average, barely reaching this mark because he's in so many leagues. So he is like overwhelming himself to the point that overall as a player, he is barely above average as a B ranked player. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Zombie. His drafts are really good. So a lot of the time he can get away with fast prep. So yeah, if he gets out prepped, it doesn't matter a lot of the time, but you know what? It's alright. Majority of the time he is winning. Like, he goes positive. A lot of the time he goes 7-5 at worst from what I've seen. 8-4 or 9-3 consistently. Sometimes I even see this man go 10-2 with his broken team. So yeah, that right there is why I have my man Zombie at this rank. So we're gonna jump. We're gonna hit up my man, the answer, aka my man Brett, the homie, the boy, the myth, the legend, baby, my boy, my man, coach of the Philadelphia Swirlixers. So I haven't identified much of my man's games, but for the most part, my man was killing it in Battle of the Bastards. He was putting in the work in that league, and in IPA, he took over a Cheeks team, still got the W's. Still putting in the work, doing the finest of work. And he, for the most part, uses bulky offense or hyper offense. Majority of the time I see him bring 2 to 3 setup mons, which means his win cons are very flexible. So that's really good for him. Because if your rosters are flexible, that gives you a lot of leeway in how you execute your game plan, how you play, how you approach your opponent's team build, because you have to identify and adapt to how your opponent builds, plays, and the flow of the game. I think that's very important. If your team is flexible in win cons, that's really good. That's hella good for you. Like, I think that's really good, and that comes with prep. And Brett's prep, a lot of people say it's sus, but I think his prep is pretty solid. Like, it's really solid, especially for this rank. I think he's a B rank player because he consistently beats players of his caliber, beats players worse than him, and sometimes I even see him bring games versus top players very close. And unfortunately, I can't put him higher than B because I haven't analyzed him long enough, and he is susceptible to losing to hacks. Like, he gets tilted and then he ends up, yeah, you know the rest. So yeah, my man Brett, a Gundam Tanaka fan, go hit my man up. I don't know if he uploads, but hit my man the answer up. My man, very solid at the game, knows what he's talking about, knows what he's doing, can be a bit toxic to some people, but for the most part, my man is brutally honest, and I appreciate that brutal honesty, honestly. So yeah, we're gonna move on, and we're gonna talk about my man Bezo, finally coming out of retirement for the past couple of months. Joined Classic Kings Season 2. Didn't do too well normal season, but in playoffs, my man piped up. And he was really putting a name for himself. Going 2-0 in playoffs, if I recall correctly, putting in the work. And for the most part, Bezo's drafts are whack. Like, his drafts are whack sauce. Like, trash. Like, most of the time. Like, I look at his team and I'm like, his drafts are so whack, I can't even explain myself. But for the most part, this man knows how to use these whack drafts. He executes his wacky game plans. Like, his prep, for the most part, very creative. And who am I to judge his creative prep if it works? Like, a lot of the time his prep works, and he executes it and uses it well. And I will never forget this game, but my man Slick Panther, his second or third season, my man rolled up playing mocks, ready to pull up versus my man Beezle. But little did he know, my nigga Beezle pulled up with ingrained Mega Venusaur that got stat passes from Mew. My man passed Amnesia, Iron Defense, into Mega Venusaur, Venusaur used ingrain, and he couldn't be phased out. And I'm like, yo, my man Beezle with that hot prep, man. That was, oh man, that game right there, that's easily set of the year. Like, not set of the year because that didn't happen this year, but that was easily set of the season. Like, oh man, I'm sorry, Slick, but yo, that was some sick prep, dog. And unfortunately for my man unfortunately for my man Slick Panther, he got willed that game. It's like, yo, Slick, what happened, dog? What you doing, big dog? Like, what's good? What is good? But he just got outplayed, and he took that out, dog. He took the L. What can you say? He was another victim of the Beezle, baby. And so we're gonna jump and we're gonna hit up the C rank. Wait, is my man Slick not on here? Yeah, Slick is supposed to be on here. Slick is B rank. I'm sorry, Slick, but you are definitely B rank. And I will tell you why you're B rank. You are B rank because, oh baby, I've been watching you grow. Not season 3, for the past 3 to 4 seasons. First to second season, you have been easily like considered an indigo player at your lowest of low. And yeah, you've been putting in the most work, Slick. Like, I do not want you to feel like I was bashing you about that set that you lost to. That was just prep. That was just you getting out prep. But Slick, you've been putting in so much work, and I just want to like shout outs to Slick. He even beat me in Clash. Like, bro, like not everybody can beat me. Not everybody can say they've beaten me. Like, this man decided to pipe up, sweat, put in the work, tear me up, and it was a close game. I ended up hacking my man Slick to a closer game. I should have got like destroyed that game. But yeah, my man Slick, he won 2 to 3 Actually, he's won 3 championships this year already, and it hasn't even been a full like 7 months yet. He won BBL, which is Liv's League, and he won NTP Showdown, and then he won another league. What was the other league? I believe it was a different league, but I remember Slick saying he did win in another league. But this man has 3 championships in Gen 8 when I only have 1 so far. I legitimately only have 1. And my man Slick already beating me, outdoing me, got 3. Put in the work, consistently sweating, grinding, mocking, put in the work in HQ. My man's just putting in the work. So I gotta congratulate my man Slick. This man was growing, elevating his craft. Building can be a little like better, but with the right support, Slick is a monster. This man at his peak is a menace. But I have to go based off of consistency, and consistently speaking, my man Slick unfortunately isn't A rank because he can't consistently play at that level, and it irks me so much because Slick is susceptible to being tilted or like losing because he overlooked something or he misplays on a critical turn, and it's just it's like, Slick, come on, bro. Like, you had it too, man. That was an easy win for you, man. But you threw it away because you overlooked something or you just didn't have the tools to win, and it's just unfortunate. It really do be like that sometimes. So I know you saw some of the C rank, unless I edit it out, which I more than likely will. But we're most likely editing that out. But we're gonna jump to C rank, and with C rank, we're gonna talk about my man Dietai, aka Jason, coach of the New Britain Rockrush. And this guy, I really wanted to put him in B, he deserves to be in B. At his peak, he is top of B. Like, he is easily top 10 in Classic. Easily. But I can't really... it's just really hard to, like, put him at the top of, like, top 8. Like, I think he was top 8 last season, actually. But I think he's actually barely top 8, if not top 10. Which is still good. Don't get me wrong. It's still good. But to drop off because you're very inconsistent, like, I hate watching Jay play most of the time because it's like when I watch Jay play, it's like his prep is so good, the team builds are so fire. Like his team prep, like it's so fire. Like he really do be cooking up some heat. This man know how to prep, but then he goes into the game and then it's like OG Albina. It's like they come into the game. It's like they see something unexpected, you make a play that they don't agree with or they didn't expect, or they build a set that you were not prepared for and they are easily thrown off. But unfortunately for Jay, he is more susceptible to this in terms of being inconsistent overall. Like, I've seen Jay lose to some bottom of the barrel players, and it's just really tilting to see it because he should not be losing to these players at all, especially as experienced as he is. He should not be losing to these guys. This man is really good when he is at his peak, but the problem is he isn't consistently at his peak. But if he is consistently at his peak, I would even say he is rivaling Ultra player. Like, Ultra is really good. I've seen him give Ultra players some really fire games. Like, I've seen him will Ultra in some leagues, and he has the potential. I just want to see him tap into it. And for the most part, he doesn't draft his own teams, which just shows you the skill ceiling of this man's potential. Like, he has the potential to reach new heights, and I think this guy can go real far if he tweaks some of his misplays. And I think he needs to better analyze his opponent's win cons, play around that along with winning with his win cons, and just executing it from there. So with that being said, we're gonna jump from Jay, and we're gonna hit up my boy Shy Guy, young Shy Guy, the young OG Albina Slayer, baby. Let's get it. So Shy Guy, I put him in C because even though he has been getting a lot better in such a short time, like Jay, he is susceptible to going on tilt, getting hacks, overlooking a win con, misplaying, risking his win cons, everything just getting risked, everything's taking chip, and then your opponent wins, and it's just like, bro, why? Like, and that a game that helps me back this point up is when he plays Hacker, when he played Hacker. And I remember that game. He had Thundy out. Turn 1, I believe he led off with Thundy out. And Hacker led off with Mienja. Keep in mind, Stone Edge bops Thundy out. Like, that thing it's not thick. It's not taking the Stone Edge, big dog. It's not taking that Stone Edge. And if you get crit, you lose your fighting resist, big dog. You scout for that Scarf. You do not play aggressive turn 1. Ever. Like, do not do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't. It's just, it's not worth the risk. Like, it's a high risk, low reward. Well, it's a high risk, high reward at that point. Because it's like, okay, I caught out the U-turn, and it's just, he did call out the U-turn, but turn 1, I just don't agree with that. Like, I just don't agree with it at all. But yes, she's in the shower. Yeah, but Shy, like, this man beats really solid players. Like, I've seen him beat Dietai, OG Albina, take games off of Panther 2. Like, I've seen him win against Panther 2. He beat Joe Battles, and Joe was tearing it up. I'm telling you, this man was tearing it up. Season 16, tearing it up in Odyssey. My man Joe putting in the work, and my man Shy Guy killed his momentum going into playoffs. Like, yo, I'm gonna show you what's good. took a game off of Joe with the finest of prep, and won. And I'm like, yo, my man Shy Guy really done got that W. Who can hate on that? But I hate the fact that Shy Guy chokes so much, risks win cons so often, and loses to players he shouldn't be losing, and overlooking things in the building process. And I think that really hurts his chances of being consistent and beating players higher than him on his ranking on a consistent basis. And as I've mentioned prior, consistency matters a lot in my rankings. So he has to be more consistent. I'm hyped to see my man Shy Guy go positive this season, because he went 8-4. Well, not 8-4. He went 7-5 last season, and from what he was doing prior, my man, he leveled up tremendously. Like, he went from Indigo to playing in Classic, giving Panther close games and playoffs, taking games off of Joe Battles when he's tearing up the whole league. And it's just crazy that my man Shy really grew from an Indigo player and is really giving close games. Like, I can even give him a shout out. Like, in PMU, like, we played in finals, and I should have lost him, actually. Like, I actually should have lost him if I didn't get the role on his Zygarde sub and his Zygarde. Like, he brought really good prep. He brought Memento, Mega Guard, went into Zygarde, subbed on Meloetta as I swapped into Mega Venusaur. He was a very bulky Zygarde set. Giga Drain was a roll to break the sub, but it was more so in my favor, barely in my favor. And he was at +3 or +4, and he kind of did risk the crit by setting up again on Venusaur. But the one turn he risked setting up, I ended up critting him with Giga Drain, and he ended up losing the finals. And it's just like, that's just a testament of why you have to analyze the risk versus the reward. Like, if I risk my win con this turn, or if I risk this turn, like, if I make this play, am I getting rewarded as much as am I can't English. Am I getting rewarded as much as I can potentially lose something crucial this turn? And I think Shy is still learning that. Obviously, he's a player. He's barely a year into draft. So he's learning. He's still growing, still getting polished and getting accustomed to draft format. So shout out to my man Shy. This guy is like, what, 15, 16? So to be as strong as this guy is at his current peak right now, really good stuff from my man Shy Guy. So yeah, with that being said, we're going to jump and we're going to hit up my man Corey, aka Banded Caterpie. And with him, we are going to tell you why he dropped off from B rank. I believe he was top of B rank last season when Panther did it. But with this, I am putting him in C rank because a lot of the time when I watch Corey, it's like his prep is either spot on or a complete disaster. It's just unfortunate because it's like, it's similar to Ultra Play. Like, Ultra Player's prep is whack for the most part, whack but creative. But Ultra Player's prep is actually whack and calculated. Corey's prep is whack just to be whack, in my eyes. And yeah, that's just my opinion. Like, overall, his prep isn't consistently good. Like, he'll bring 2 or 3 whack sets, and most of the time he misses, and it's just annoying because if he would bring 1 or 2 more standard sets, this guy has the capabilities to win. And it's just, it disappoints me because I know Corey is a really good player. Like, I think I'm negative against Corey, so Corey knows how to play. It's a matter of which Corey do you get. Do you get the Corey that knows how to prep and identify his win cons and just analyze the matchup and head into the matchup with standard sets that are better suited for him to win? Or, hey, do I bring this whack set because it's whack, it looks fun, and I want to try it? Like, there's times, like, there's a time and a place for creative and innovational sets, and there's a time where just bringing standard cookie cutter sets will help you get that win. And I think Corey loses to players he shouldn't lose. He beats players that he shouldn't be beating, and he beats players around his skill level at his peak. So I think that Corey, on a great day, will beat Panther 2, will beat me, will beat Joe, will beat Jock, will beat Hugo at his prime. He can beat literally anybody. His problem is he can lose to anybody. That's a huge thing about him too. Like, he is susceptible to losing to anybody, and it's just really freaking annoying to see it because this guy has been playing too long to be losing to these lower players. Like, I gotta call it for what it is. Should not be losing to them, big dog. You my boy. Shout out to my man Corey for the hot sets last season, helping your man out when he was in a slump with building, and I was coming out swinging with the W's, bringing the team home the W, and we carried our team to first seed, and now it's finals between Joe Battles, which is on my team. I handed my man Joe the torch, and will Torch come out on top? Not Torch. Will Joe come out on top? Or will my man GCS get his first championship in the APA versus my man Joe on the hardest streak of his life? Stay tuned. That will definitely be uploaded on Panther's channel. So, that being said, we're going to jump and we're going to talk about my man Kurt, my homie, young Kurt the Buzzwell, young Kurt, baby. Young Misclicks, young Hacks Matter, young Why You So Lucky, man, young I Hate This Game, young Carts, baby, young Aussie Land Ain't Real, young UPO Commissioner, baby. My man Kurt and I, we go way back. Like, we go way back, way back. And it's just crazy how you can meet someone and have a connection with them immediately, because this is about to be a long one. This is about to be a long one because Kurt is my guy. He is my boy. Like, he is easily my best friend on Discord. Like, top one easily. Like, no question about it. My man has been there with me through my darkest times, through my best times. I've been there for him at his worst and at his best and everything in between. We prep together, we play together, we run UPL together. And yeah, like, my man has been up and down in his draft league career, and it's just so annoying because he is friends with me and a lot of people respect me in the draft community. And it's just so annoying to see Kurt be so inconsistent throughout his draft career. Like, this man should be way more consistent, a lot better at his craft compared to where he is now, especially considering that he's been playing longer than me. I have not been playing Draft League as long as him. As funny as that sounds, he's been playing since RS was released. I believe that was 2014, and I joined Draft League pretty much the tail end of 2016 when Sun and Moon was coming out. So you do the math. But we're going to talk about Kurt, why he's placed here, etc. So, Kurt, coach of the Belina Barracuda. My man Kurt, for the most part, he knows how to build. He may overlook a thing or two, but he'll usually come to me like, yo, so can you tell me what's good? And I usually hit him up with what's good, why this is good, why you should change this, change the win con, change the spread to basically, like, effectively hit certain benchmarks that is most effective in taking the hits or reaching 2-hit KO or 3-hit KO benchmarks with rocks up or rocks off the field. So I usually spend a lot of time with Kurt. We talking DMs, we talking pretty much every server we're in, which is like, what, over 20 or I think 15 to 20 servers we're in together. Keep in mind, we don't talking like all those 15 to 20 servers. We talking like the same 3 to 4 servers, if not 2. But most of the time we do talk in private. Yeah, we talk in private majority of the time. You can't get leaked on if you are talking in DMs, and if you do get leaked from DMs, you know who to go to. So for the most part, well, not for the most part, Kurt and I never leaked our DMs with each other. Like, we have this tight connection. We chill. We tight together. Like, we go headstrong with situations that we don't agree with. Like, we may go back and forth. Like, I don't agree with this, I don't like that. We go head to head a lot of the time, but at the end of the day, we want the best for each other. Like, it's just that simple. So yeah, so Kurt's prep is really solid. And I expected that. Like, his prep is really good. Like, he knows his win cons. The problem is with Kurt is he knows his win cons. He builds around that win con or win cons, and he goes into the game, right? And he'll play his opponent, and depending on if his opponent haxes him, makes a play he doesn't agree with, gets outplayed, etc., he will go on an inevitable tilt, and it's and then after the game he'll be like, I don't agree with that. Why did he make that play? That play didn't make sense. And it's like, yo, Kurt, like, there were plays you made that I didn't agree with. There were plays that you didn't have to risk. There were plays that could have led you to a safer win. You didn't have to risk that. You didn't have to go for that. You didn't have to make that play. There was no need to make that play. And he's still learning that 4 or 5 years plus later, and it's just so annoying to see someone so experienced be so susceptible to these things. And it's just man, like but when he's at his peak, Kurt is easily a contender of B rank. Like, this man has taken 2 or 3 games from me. Keep in mind, we've been in a million leagues together, but when Kurt was at his peak, he was giving me some really good games. He still gives me good games. Like, for some reason, Kurt can have a bad season. He pulls up versus me, and he's like, yo, so I'm about to give you the game of your life. And it's like, yo, Kurt, why can't you play like this versus everybody else, man? Like, bro, it's just, like, it's crazy. But his prep is fine. He needs to be more consistent, and he's easily, like, his mental, like, he is easily thrown off his game, and it's just, like, and he usually overlooks things while playing, and it's just, it's just so annoying to me. It's just, Kurt, please. Don't be doing that, Kurt. Big dog, don't be doing that, man. You can't be going out like that, Chief. And if you do lose and you don't agree with why you lost, analyze the game, watch the game, see why you lost, see how you can play better, and just go from there. That's just all there is to it. So, we're going to move on, and we're going to hit up my man, T-Row, young T-Row, baby, young Flannery, young Doritos, young What Does Wingle Do, Season 1 of Clash, young Kabalion, young Mega Guard Stand, young baby of the century. My man is the GOAT of Little Cup. But hold on. I gotta go do something real quick. Hold up. Dang, I need to drink some water. Shoot. I've been talking all this time. I'm parched. I am parched. I'm parched, baby. Parched. We about to drink. Nice young H2O, baby. H2O. Oh yeah. H2O. Okay. Young T-Row, young Flannery, young Doritos, young What Does Wingle Do, Class Season 1. But yeah, jokes aside, my man is the GOAT, the legend of Little Cup. My man is a champion of Season 2, Clash of Kings. Not everybody can say that for their second season of Clash, of a team tour. And keep in mind, that season of Clash was arguably the hardest out of the two. Easily one of the hardest, if not, one of the hardest. I can't talk. One of the hardest out of two? What's wrong with me? It was the hardest out of the two. And his team, KWD, Karen Black from the waist down, went undefeated that season. Won semifinals because they got a bye. And won finals 5 and 2. And it's just like, dog, bro, like, man, that was something crazy. That was something crazy. Oh my god. But it's just crazy to see how my man T-Row got swept by Pancham by yours truly in APA Wi-Fi Little Cup. Shameless plug. But yeah, I thought T-Row wasn't good when I first played him. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought my man was not good. I thought he was new to Little Cup. He was learning. And then I saw this man playing in TDT, playing in Clash Season 2. I'm like, wait. Is this the same guy I swept turn 1 with Pancham? Is this really the same dude? And to my dismay, he is the same guy. And it's just crazy that your first interaction with someone can easily be misunderstood. So it's best to give that person a second chance or to analyze things from a different perspective. So yeah, that is my analysis about T-Row. Now we're going to talk about why he is placed here, as you may have been thinking. So with that being said, we're going to talk about T-Row's consistency. For the most part, I do not think T-Row is very consistent as a player. I think he is a painfully average player outside of Little Cup. Unfortunately, because he obviously will not sweat as much for the most part outside of Team Taurus. Team Taurus, my man T-Row puts in the finest of work, but outside of Little Cup and Team Taurus, my man is susceptible to mediocre prep, mediocre play, whole bunch of misplaying, risking win cons when he had a safer way of winning. And it's just, is this the same T-Row that I see dominating? Was this the same T-Row that I saw dominating the competition in Team Taurus and Little Cup? And unfortunately, yeah, this is the same dude, because unfortunately, Little Cup does not translate to Standard, and in Standard, T-Row is very inexperienced. So, completely different formats, mind you. But T-Row did, Season 16, he did go 8-4, so I can't hate on my man T-Row. He was close to winning Coach Best Newcomer, or was he the... I can't talk. He was the best newcomer, I believe. Or was it? I forgot. But I will give T-Row the benefit of the doubt, and I would say that T-Row won Coach of Best New Coach of the season. So he went 8-4. Corey, my man, young Corey, hitting him up with the goldest, heatest prep of all time. My man T-Row coming in out the gate swinging with Regirock. My man was getting smashed by Ojo Obana that one game. But T-Row's like, yo, I'm about to come out and I'm about to get that slow start off. We about to fast start. We about to get this win con going. We about to set up. We about to win. And we about to get this W, baby. Let's get it. So he ended up getting the win. And I thought he was about to lose. And then I saw Regirock click Iron Defense 3 times and rest plus sleep talk multiple times, and he got 4 kills with Regirock. And I'm like, yo, shout out to my man Corey for that set, because it brought the game back. And I'm like, T-Row knows how to play it, and it's just he doesn't know how to consistently play it like that, or he doesn't put in the time to build, because he's a very busy person and he focuses more on Team Taurus, obviously, which I don't fault him for that. Team Taurus are very important, very, very important. So yeah, that is exactly why T-Row is average in Standard. But if we did factor in Little Cup, this man would be like, what, top of B rank, low A? Like Little Cup and Team Taurus, this man, oh, this guy is a beast. This guy is a beast. He is a menace when he's on his A game. The problem is he doesn't sweat enough to consistently be there outside of that. So with that being said, we're going to jump on Victini. We're going to hit up another Victini team, baby. Let's get it, because you can never have too many Victinis in one league. But we're going to talk about my man Crow. I have not watched Crow play as much. I think he played in Indigo, Season 2 or Season 3, one of them. I don't know if he played there, but I do remember seeing him play in Battle of the Bastards, and this man was putting in the work in playoffs, putting in the work normal season. This man knows how to play. And for the most part, he executes his prep and win cons effectively on the average consistency. The problem with him is, from what I saw, is like if the player builds or plays a little bit better than him, he is likely to not win. If that makes sense. Like if it looks like Crow's losing, he is losing. And if it looks like Crow's winning, he can potentially lose. It's a good set that he either didn't account for or that he didn't position himself well against. And I've seen a lot of players have a dominant control during the game, and then near the tail end of the game, they give their opponent a little leeway, and they don't play around a potential win con again. As I've mentioned about Dai, Jay, Ojo O'Brien, a few other people I've mentioned prior, they're susceptible to overlooking their opponent's win cons, and it's okay to play to your win con, but at the same time, you have to adapt to the way your opponent is playing. Like, okay, you can look at your opponent's team, like, okay, for example, like, say you have a Zardex, right? And your opponent has a Lano T. Typically, you will bring a defensive Lano T to check that Zardex not switch into it, like pivot into it once or twice, depending on the Zard set, right? But you notice that they're not switching in their Lano T. And your win con is a physical. Let's say your win con is a physical electric type, and you're playing to win with that, even though it requires Lano T either being chipped, dead, or like pretty much, yeah, it requires Lano T to be heavily chipped down or out of commission. And if your opponent is smart enough to position their Lano T, keep it in the back, play to their win con, never send it out, your win con is likely to not be a win con. Surprise! Like, if you don't hit the necessary benchmarks to win with a win con, your win con isn't a win con. Like, it's just that simple. And a lot of people still don't get this. Like, you should notice how your opponent conserves certain mons I would typically check or switch into another mon. And if they're not doing that, well, I mean, obviously it's their win con. So you have to be like, okay, he hasn't switched into his Lano T one time this game versus my physical attackers. This must be his win con, right? And you have to play knowing that your opponent is playing to win with Lano T. So if their way of winning with Lano T is getting rid of, let's say, we can say Gliscor, for example. Like if your Lano T doesn't have Hidden Power Ice, like let's say this is a Gen 8 game, and your win con is Lano T, and you have Gliscor, but you're playing to win with your Electivire, and not Electivire, your Electric type, and then you like, it's just a really terrible time, because then you like, okay, I'm willing to sack my Gliscor, right? And I can sack the Gliscor, chip this team down, and win with Electivire. I keep saying Electivire, but win with your Electric type. And then you lose your Gliscor, which is your best Lano T check. It's what kept Lano T in check, because like typically SD Ice Flame Gliscor beats Lano T, but you lose your Gliscor. And now your opponent is free to spam Earthquake. Like suppose your opponent brings Double Dance Lano was like Stone Edge plus Earthquake, or Fly/Earthquake. And now your opponent can set up a Rock Pause, your team is weakened, and they sweep, and your Electivire doesn't win. I keep saying Electivire. Your Electric type win con doesn't win because there's no hidden powers in this game, so typically they cannot touch Lano T, and because you lost Gliscor, now the Lano T was able to set up for free and pretty much clean up the game with Rock Pause. No SD needed. But yeah, that typically is very constant in the draft community. I hate it so much because a lot of people are like, yo, why did you make that play? Why didn't you switch into this mon, that mon, X, Y, and Z? And it's like, dog, I was playing to win with X, Y, and Z. I didn't need to risk that, make that play. I was playing to win with that. So I made this play supporting my win con. And it's easy for your opponent to question plays, go on to like, yo, why did he stay in, or why didn't he swap out? It's just like you can't let that dictate like your flow of game plan. Like you have to realize, oh, he hasn't sent X, Y, and Z out. Maybe this is his win con, so let me adapt, let me change my flow of game plan, let me change my predictions, and go from there. So yeah, I've seen Crow lose games he shouldn't lose because he does this often, and it's just unfortunate. But we're gonna jump on next to my man Mid, and I've been watching Mid for about 2.5 years. I've been watching him since 2017, ever since PBL started, aka Panther and Tar Heels League, that ended up dying inevitably. And I've been watching Mid. Mid plays in a decent amount of leagues, and you would expect him to be a really strong player, but he's not, because he is very inconsistent in terms of like how he plays, how he executes his game plan. And for the most part, his prep is okay. Like his prep isn't like, wow, this is so good, but his prep isn't, oh, what's that? What it doesn't make you scratch your head. It's more like, could be better, could be worse, but I'll take it for what it is. And for the most part, Mid is that player. He is more like middle of the barrel, like literally dead middle of the barrel. And it's like, it's like you don't expect much from Mid, but at the same time you don't expect the worst from him. It's just weird. It's hard to describe Mid. It's like I've seen him lose to people he shouldn't lose to, and I've seen him beat people he shouldn't beat because his opponent misplay. Like I've seen Mid beat who he's supposed to beat, but I've seen him lose to a lot of people that he shouldn't be losing to, and it's like, bro, what is happening right now? And it's like, it's crazy, it's mad crazy that Mid been playing all this time and he be losing to some sus players, and it's like, bro, Mid, big dog, you should not be losing that. And it's just crazy. And it's just so hard to like describe Mid, because like I don't typically pay attention to Mid, but at the same time, from the games I've been watching that he plays, like I mentioned, he does beat who he needs to beat, but at the same time he loses to a lot of players that he should never be losing to, like so often. It's just mind-boggling how often he loses to players he shouldn't lose to. Needless to say, he does get hacks from time to time, but at the same time, you getting hacks doesn't mean you auto lose. Like there's still win cons, there's still ways you can bring the game back in your favor. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Mid. Mid definitely has the potential to take games off of players that he shouldn't be beating, consistently beating players around his skill caliber, and beating players that he is better than. So I think Mid can really do well. Like he typically drives broken things, but he is susceptible to misplaying, and it's so common. But you know what? This is a new season, trial and error. Mid can probably pipe up. I've seen Shy Guy pipe up. I've seen Kurt pipe up. I've seen Robinizer pipe up. It's just everybody can turn up and pull up swinging. So I'm gonna jump in, and we're gonna talk about my boy Robinizer, coach of the Daytona Tortugas. And shout out to Robinizer for beating me in playoffs 3 times. It's so annoying, but alright, we back. I have to edit that part out. So we're going to hit up my man Robinizer. We're going to talk about what is good versus my man Rob. Well, not versus my man. We're about to talk about my man Rob. But I'm going to talk about why he's here and why I think he is placed here and why this is a good spot for him to be at. So with that being said, we are going to talk about Rob's prep first to hit that up. Rob usually preps last minute outside of Little Cup. Even in Little Cup, he usually preps last minute. So he is more susceptible to leaving holes in his builds, thus allowing him to be exploited in his matches on a consistent basis versus better players. And another thing with Robinizer that I cannot stand the most, and I hate it with a burning freaking passion, this guy really really knows how to play when he is on his game, but he is not always on his A game, and that really pisses me off because he is always on his A game when he plays me, and it's freaking aggravating. Oh my god, it's so annoying. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about his consistency and why I think he is where he is. So, as I've mentioned before, Robinizer knows how to play the game. He knows how to win for the most part. But the problem with Robinizer is he doesn't know how to win for the most part at the same time. Like, he is evenly in skill. I cannot English. He is even in skill in terms of his strengths and weaknesses. And that's what makes him so average, because he is consistently beating players a little bit better than him, beating players around his skill caliber, and beating players who are of lesser skill than him. And he is also susceptible to losing to players he shouldn't be losing to. And he is obviously more susceptible to losing to players that are better than him. And players around his skill level, he ends up making them look better when he is not on his A game. And that just shows that he lacks consistency. And I think putting him here is the most fair, because Robinizer does have the experience, he has the knowledge, he has the game plans. For the most part, he knows how to build, and this guy knows what he's doing. It's just, will you get the Robinizer that is on the hot streak, or will you get the Robinizer that forgets how to play Pokemon? And depending on which one you get throughout the season, you are either in for a rough time or an easy time. So take that as you will. So with that being said, we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about a new player. We're gonna talk about my boy E-Rob. I have no knowledge on E-Rob, so I am going to go off of his games from Odyssey, I believe, or Ascension, one of them from APA. So I believe I saw him go 6, not 6. Did he go 7 and 5? I don't remember, but this guy, he usually loves hyper offense or bulky offense kind of team structures. So that is a really good thing for him, because I personally think bulky offense is the best way to go. Like, it's literally the best middle of the pack team play. Like, not team play. Oh, I cannot English today, apparently. But I think bulky offense is the best of the 4 playstyles. The 4 playstyles is hyper offense, bulky offense, balance, and stall. And stall is a lot more exploitable when you're able to build for it. Balance is typically usually just as exploitable as stall. It's not stall. Balance is more like slightly more offense compared to stall, but it's not really like offensively threatening at the same time. Like, you're not breaking as consistently as bulky offense or obviously hyper offense, where hyper offense is just all offense. You're breaking, out positioning your opponent, etc. Bulky offense, you have a lot more of a sturdier backbone. Like, you have defensive cores, like 2 to 3 defensive mons supporting 2 to 3 offensive mons, or tanks for that matter. And it's just a lot more flexible with bulky offense, because hyper offense, you can either lose the momentum and never get it back, or keep the momentum and win in it. Hyper offense is the definition of high risk, high reward. Bulky offense is not high risk, but high reward, because you do get reward for being able to check mons a lot more reliably, not consistently, but reliably. So you're able to have offensive momentum. You don't give your opponent that offensive momentum because you have offensive threats on your team. So you're able to do that, which is why I think bulky offense is the best, because you're able to play a little safer because you have a little bit more backbone in the back that you're able to help cover your 2 to 3 offensive Pokemon that you may have on your team build at that point in given time. So I think that is the best. And then balance is like stall. It's not stall, but it's like there's 1 or 2 mons that can do damage. Not a lot of damage, but they can do damage, if that makes sense. It's kind of like slapping Jirachi or Mew on the team. Like, it's like they're not immediately threatening. They can obviously set up to win, but they need the support of Fat behind them to get going. And I think if your opponent has a wall breaker, like if they have an bulky offensive team, I think bulky offense usually pairs up the best against balance. And hyper offense is like a hit or miss. It's literally based off a matchup, how you play, how you position in your teams, your prep, etc. So it literally comes down to all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, I do not know much about E-Rob, excluding the fact that I did kind of watch his games every once in a while. Like, I do think he's a bit mid as a player, like he's a bit average, but he obviously has the knowledge and the information he needs to know how to play consistently at a average level, if that makes sense. From what I've seen, keep in mind, I don't know a lot of these, not a lot, I don't know about 4 to 5 players, because I played a lot of League the past 5 years. Well, not 5, 4 years. Well, not even 4 years at this point. It's pretty much 3 years and 3 years and 11 months, actually. That's crazy. I've been playing that long. It's almost 3 years. Not 3 years. It's almost 4 years. But yeah, that's crazy. But not talking about me. We're talking about E-Rob. But E-Rob, for the most part, he plays his win cons on an average, consistent basis. He knows what he likes to play with, and he may draft a little bit questionable a few times, but at the same time, it works for him on a decently consistent basis. But yeah, that's my take on Rob. So we're gonna hit up the next person. We're gonna talk about my good man. It's whatever, aka Antonio. And I think Antonio, for how long he's been playing, I really hated the fact that I had to put him near the bottom of the C rank, and I put him at the bottom of the C rank because unlike, I've been watching E-Rob for the most part, his prep is solid. He makes plays that are necessary to put him back in the game to win, and it's just he doesn't take too much risk, but at the same time he takes risks that he may need in order to come back in matches, and I think that is very important. I think he drafts hyper offense, and as I've mentioned prior, hyper offense is heavily matchup dependent, requires you to play near perfect or better than your opponent in every single possible way, or else you just lose on the spot because you have no defensive backbone to recover from said thing. So Antonio, unfortunately, he loves hyper offense, and in league format, I don't think hyper offense is that consistently good, considering that it is hyper offense is very matchup dependent, and because you're playing potentially 15 other coaches, 12 to 15 other coaches throughout the season, you are likely to face off against threats that you can't check. Why? Because you don't have a defensive backbone to help your offensive mons pivot into things that they may otherwise need to have in the back to keep the team structure in place and intact for a decently long game. So hyper offense loses hard to stall, can struggle to balance depending on the balance, and hyper offense usually hyper offense usually matches up better against bulky offense, because bulky offense usually doesn't have a strong defensive backbone, but it has a decently good defensive backbone in order to stay going, if that makes sense. So hyper offense usually overwhelms bulky offense because bulky offense's tanks usually don't have the sturdiness to take the onslaught of the hyper offensive onslaught. So yeah, that's my take on that. But why Itch is here is because I think this guy is extremely inconsistent, extremely questionable in how he plays and builds. For the most part, like, his builds are either hit or miss. It's like Corey but worse. Like, at least Corey knows how to use his white sets. Like, he anticipates, like, oh, like, for example, he'll be like, instead of him bringing like a Combine Coco, for example, in the matchup, he'll bring Specs Coco? Not Specs Coco, he'll bring like I can't even think of it I can't even English. I can't even think of what I want to say. I can't form it together for some reason. So I'm going to take a deep breath and then try to explain myself. Okay, so Corey, if this makes sense, Corey brings whack but creative and innovational sets, but that would either hit or miss. And for the most part, the mons that he does bring, they're good for the matchup. And that's what usually helps Corey. Like, he would usually bring an unconventional set for the matchup and will make him win the game a lot less likely, but it's still very likely because he's technically bringing his best mons to the matchup for the most part. But it's for a lot of for so many reasons, I can't even talk. For some reason, he tends to bring mons that aren't like suitable for the matchup, and it's just, it's like, I can use an example because I know his build for the matchup. He played me last season, and I was talking with Slick Panther, ironically, and I was like, I expect it to bring Sceptile. Like, even though Sceptile doesn't really touch Dragonite, it doesn't deal with Ferrothorn, and it usually loses. Like, I can pivot Arcanine in on it if he tries to bring like an SD Unburden set. And I was like, yeah, that isn't really good versus me because it has 4 moveset syndrome. He wants a way to touch Ferrothorn. He wants to hit Arcanine. He wants to hit Dragonite. He wants Stab, so he wants SD, Leaf Blade, Earthquake, Drain Punch, Rock Slide / Dragon Claw to hit Dragonite. And he can't fit all that alongside with me being able to pivot on his team so reliably. But he ended up bringing the Sceptile, and I'm like, I knew he would bring it. And then after the game, I was like, I didn't question him for bringing it, but I went to HQ chat, talked to Slick. I'm like, yo, we were right. This man really did bring Sceptile to the game. Like, bonus points for bringing my 3rd favorite mon, or 4th favorite mon, to a match. But I don't think that was a matchup for it, especially his set. His set was actually walled by Dragonite, like, which is funny, but we're not going to get into that. I really do respect him being creative with his builds. Do not get me wrong. I am not bashing him. His builds are solid when he wants to bring suitable sets for the matchups. But I feel like when he really wants to bring a mon, he will bring that mon even if the mon doesn't have a good matchup. He will try to force a set to bring it, just to bring it, if that makes sense. Like, Corey would bring a mon that is good for the matchup and try to force a set that doesn't need to come just because it looks fun, it's creative, and it's heat for the heat factor. But I think he generally just wants to bring it, and he doesn't account for, like, okay, what does this mon actually do this game? But outside of prep, he knows how to play the game for the most part. This guy knows how to play. He's been playing for a long time. I think he's been in the community longer than me. So, like, he's not bad at the game by any means necessary. This is why he's in C rank, because he is average, because I think he's held back by his building, and sometimes he does misplay, and his builds can limit him in what he can do, and he struggles to win games that he should be winning because of his building. In the building process, he can probably throw in the building process, and I think if he learns that, hey, I really want to bring this mon, it looks fun to bring, I think this set will work, but this mon is better for the matchup, and this set works infinitely better for the matchup to help me give the best shot of winning. So I think once he gets a little hang of that, he will definitely rise up to peak its instead of the its that we see now, because peak its was beating me. Like, yeah, let that sink in. So that being said, I think we are done talking about my man Antonio. We're gonna hit up the D rank, and with that being said, you should obviously have seen 21 coaches by now, and you're about to see this 22nd coaches, and that is my boy Hacker Killer. And I had to put my boy Hacker in D rank because he was dominating Indigo, but outside of Indigo, he really struggles to find his footing. He struggles to win. He struggles to consistently outplay his opponents and outbuild his opponents. A lot of the time, he struggles to identify what will be good for the matchup. Like, his win cons usually gets risked, or he overplays, misplays, everything in between. It's just really unfortunate to see a player like Hacker struggle when you can see that he should be winning a lot of the games he be losing. It's like, dog, like you could have won that. But it's either he misplayed, overplayed, or he didn't build. And it's I'm trying to find a nicer word to say, but I'm just gonna say it. I don't think his builds are competent at all. Like, I think that holds him back a lot. Like, he'll bring sets that are either not good or he forces them on to come in the game. And it's kind of like It's, but he doesn't bring heat. So he doesn't even have the surprise factor that It's or Corey will have. So he usually struggles to outplay his opponents because he doesn't know when to make a play safe, and don't risk certain mons that will help him win the game. Like a couple of weeks ago, he played Shy Guy in playoffs. He had Mienshao versus He had Mienshao in versus Melmetal, right? Keep in mind, Shy Guy did sack his Thunny Eye, right? Thunny Eye and Gardevoir. For whatever reason, Shy Guy decided to sack his Fighting Resist, and then Hacker decided to click Stone Edge on the Melmetal. I'm like, wait, what? He has no Fighting Resist. His Fighting Resist that is left is Roserade, and that died to 2 CCs after Rocks at that point in the game, and it's like, wait, Hacker, you won that. Shy Guy decided to give you 2 of his best resists to Mienshao, and you just try to make a play catching the Roserade double, and it's like, bro, you didn't have to. You just click CC, and if he does go into Roserade, you click CC, and if you're not Scarf, for whatever reason, you swap out, you come back in, and then you click it again if you scout for him not being Scarf. But at that point in the game, Mienshao was confirmed Scarf, Roserade was confirmed Scarf. Who's the fastest mon? Mienshao, who wasn't out on the field, Roserade. So Shy Guy couldn't swap out. He had to sack the Melmetal, but he decided to click Stone Edge to catch the Roserade double. For whatever reason, I don't understand why, but he made the play, and that's a scenario of why you need to identify, okay, my opponent has X, Y, and Z. What likely play are they about to make? If I make this play, will this play hurt me more than it help me if I get this play wrong or if I get this play right? Gotta weigh down the pros and the cons, the risk versus reward. A lot of players really struggled with this, and it's just unfortunate. But Hacker, he's grown a lot though. Like, from the first season of Indigo, he went 8-4 that first season, and then the next season he went 9-3, I think, or 10-2. And then ended up losing in semifinals because he had a terrible matchup. But we're not talking about Indigo. We're talking about Hacker as an overall player. So I feel like once Hacker learns that he needs to weigh the risk versus reward, how to build a little bit better, play his win cons better, not make unnecessary plays, not misplay at critical moment, I think he has a bright future in the competitive community. And keep in mind, this guy is young. He's 15. He has a lot going. Like, he has a lot to grow from, a lot to learn, a lot to play, like a lot more time to play the game. I should rephrase that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Hacker Killer as a player in the competitive community. I definitely feel like this guy has the potential to grow. He has promise. Like, he has the potential to give good players a run for their money. Is whether or not, if you're going to get that Hacker, are the consistently incompetent Hacker, which we've seen so many times on multiple occasions. Well, with that being said, we're going to hit up our last coach, and we're going to talk about my boy SV Tornado, a fellow Danganronpa fan. My boy SV Tornado. I had to put my boy in the D rank. He is still in Indigo. He is still learning the ways of the game. He doesn't put in as much time in Mons because he is busy. He has a lot of things going on, and it's just unfortunate. But we're not talking about why he's where he's at. We're going to talk about why I put him here. I put him here because he was on my team. He took over a team. D-Ray, Grandmaster D-Ray dropped, unfortunately, and we got SV Tornado. And SV Tornado took over a team, and when he was prepping, I saw his teams. I would look at his teams and I would scratch my head. I was like, okay, what does this do? What does that do? Why is this here? What does this move does? For the, what not does? That's not even English. What does this move do for the matchup, etc. Right? And a lot of the time he'll just give answers. It was just here just because I couldn't think of everything. Alright, it was here. It was just here to hit this and that, or to catch this or that. And it's just like, and then Panther would come in. Panther and I would come in a lot of the time, and we'd be like, "Yo, change this EV spread because it hits this benchmark. It allows you to take X, Y, and Z after rocks or with no rocks up, right? And change this move because this move is counterproductive with this move that you already have on this mon, all that kind of stuff, right? And a lot of the time he'll bring the same sets every week, tweak 1 or 2 moves on each mon, and it's just like you can tell that he's still learning and he's trying to bring things that he thinks will work, but on paper, not on paper, but in practice, it obviously won't work on a consistent basis, especially if the matchup doesn't call for it. So he needs to learn that in the building process. I feel like once his building gets a little bit better, he will definitely rise up to the C rank. And then once he plays a lot more consistent, I feel like he's still learning what works for him, what doesn't work for him, what mons synergize together, how to draft, what doesn't work, how it works, why it works, etc. And he obviously has to learn positioning, win conditions, how to adapt to the players' win conditions, how to adapt to the players' flow of game plan, etc. All that kind of stuff that most top players, well, not most top players, all top players know. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I think. That's exactly what it is. I got to call for what it is. He's very inexperienced in his play, very inexperienced in his prep, very inconsistent because he loses to players around his skill caliber, and he will rarely, if ever, beat anybody higher than him in scale unless hacks is involved a lot of the time. But with that being said, I think that concludes my coach analysis. I will edit a lot of things in this because I've been interrupted ample times. If you have not noticed by now at this point, this is going to be a long, long, long coach power ranking. Trust me when I tell you. I thought this wasn't going to be long, but then I realized it's me. I like to talk. I like to analyze things. I like to brainstorm. You know all the good stuff about me. So with that being said, y'all, this is yo man, Silver Smash here, signing off. Peace, baby. Let's get it.